Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Thread and Glue Designs. Today we will be doing the introduction to our next book in the Bible. And you'll notice I am using a different Bible at the moment. I did get a new Bible that I am trying out, and it is the Christian Standard Bible, but it's the Charles Spurgeon version. And this is in goatskin leather. This is the softest Bible I have ever felt. It's amazing. It's very floppy. You can just lay everything back and it just lays like you want. I love that. So anyway, I'll do a review on the Bible once I've gone through it a little bit. But we're going to begin the book of Esther, and I wanted to read the introduction to Esther from this Bible and see what you guys think of how it words things, how it talks. So let's just begin at the beginning. Circumstances of writing. As in most Old Testament books, the author of the book is unknown. In the Jewish Talmud, it is suggested that the members of the great synagogue wrote the book. However, it is hard to imagine this prestigious group of religious scholars writing a book that mentions the Persian king 190 times, but never mentions God. Many early writers, Jewish as well as Christian, suggested Mordecai as the author. Background. The story of Esther is rooted in the historical situation of King Xerxes Ahasuerus, who ruled as king of Persia from 486 to 465 BC. Mid-20th century critical scholars tended to date the book late, even into the 2nd century BC. However, most now argue for an earlier date. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1947 showed that the Hebrew of Esther was very different from the Hebrew of the 1st century BC. Also, there are no Greek words in the text of Esther, which would suggest that it was written before Alexander the Great's conquest, circa 333 BC. Made Greek the language of the region, most likely the book was written in the 4th century BC. The book gives every indication of being a historical narrative. For that reason, the alleged historical anomalies in the text raise for many interpreters problems in accepting the historicity, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right yet, guys, of the story. While it is regrettable not to have any extant extra biblical confirmation of the main characters in the story, Esther, Haman, Mordecai, several points must be considered. First, there are few extant Persian records for the region of Xerxes, and thus very few historical figures are known from this time. Moreover, the Greek writers, especially Herodotus, were writing their history particularly as it related to the Greeks, not as court historians for the Persians. Thus, their material is selective and would leave unmentioned many significant figures. Second, the absence of extra biblical evidence does not mean these people did not exist. Third, while there is no positive extra biblical confirmation of these individuals, they appear in an account that even ardent critics acknowledge as being remarkably accurate in its description of the Persian era. The contribution to the Bible. Without ever mentioning God directly, the book of Esther underscores the providence of God, God's promise to give the Jews eternal ruler remained in place even in the face of threatened annihilation. Esther shows us that many Jews remained faithful to their God even in exile. They kept their identity as God's people through the synagogues that developed as the centers of the Jewish community, wherever Jews settled. The synagogues would later play a significant role as the gospel spread throughout the Roman Empire, for these served as natural starting places for the deliverance of the gospel in the towns visited by the apostles. The structure. The Hebrew of the Masoretic text used as the basis for the Christian Standard Bible is a fairly straightforward text. It is written in a form of late biblical Hebrew common to the post-exilic era and found in other biblical books of that time, such as Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, and Daniel. Like Ezra and Nehemiah, Esther shows the growing influence of Aramaic in its grammar and vocabulary, as well as the presence of many Persian words. And this is Spurgeon on Esther. Yes, God can do without us. Enlargement and deliverance will arise to his people from another place if it comes not by us. If the Lord were tied up to any one person or any one church or any one nation, it would be treasonable for that person, church, or nation to be negligent. But as the Lord waits for no one, it becomes them to mind what they are doing. He can do without us. What if Israel had been destroyed for lack of Esther's intercession? Her name would have been a byword among other nations as a base and traitorous woman. If the people had been spared by some other means, and she had refused her mission, as long as there lived a Jew, they would have kept no feast of Purim, but would have cursed her memory. We should consider why the Lord has brought us where we are. And that is the introduction from this Bible. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to message me in the comments. We will begin reading in chapter 1 next week. And if there's anything that I can do for you in the meantime, my email address is below in the description box, and I'd be glad to help out where I can. Please give this video a like, a comment, and a thumbs up. Well, a thumbs up is a like. A like, a comment, and a subscribe if you're not subscribed. So I look forward to digging into this book with you, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Thank you.